All right, now we're going to talk about preparing to answer the open response question. For this particular section, the open response prompt is almost always state the main idea of this selection and provide one specific detail from the selection that supports it. This has been the question for the information paragraph for many years, and it's unlikely that it will change for this year's test. And even if they do change it, they'll probably rearrange some of the words, but the sentiment is probably going to be the same. In order to answer this question, you want to use the topic sentence to help determine the main idea. Remember, we highlighted it in the first section of this video. You also want to take note of specific details for support. So all of the numbers, the statistics, the interviews, the quotes, those are supports for your answer for the first section. And you want to make sure that whatever support you use is not too specific or too vague, and that it basically helps illustrate what the main topic is. In order to answer the open response question, I want you to try using this strategy. We call it the PPC, or Point Proof Connection Method. The idea is that you're going to use the first sentence to establish what your point is. It should be a clear topic sentence that tells the reader what the answer is about. The easiest way to do this is to start by turning the question into a statement that states your point. Okay, so for example, if the question is, what is one character trait that describes Amy? You would write, one character trait that describes Amy is. Or in this case, state the main idea of the passage. Then you're going to write, the main idea of the passage is. The literacy test is testing your comprehension and your ability to use writing conventions to communicate. It's not really the sort of test that gives you extra marks or any kind of advantage for, say, like artistic flourishes or some really remarkable writing style. While your teacher may ask you to begin an essay with a quote or an exciting anecdote, in this case, what we want is for you to make it clear that you are answering the question. So try to restate the question within the first sentence of your answer. And then you're going to follow it with your proof. So the second sentence should provide a detailed proof that supports the topic sentence. Depending on what the question asks, you will either want to refer to the reading selection or specific evidence, or provide a specific example from your personal experience. You will be asked to write a few of these paragraphs. In this case, you're going to be referencing the reading selection, but there will be questions that will ask you for your personal opinion or something that will draw on your own experience. In that case, you're going to give some kind of answer within your point, and then the proof will come from your personal life rather than the reading selection, as it will in this case. Be sure to add specific and relevant details from the reading selection. When including an example from the reading selection, try to give direct details, examples, and quotations. For example, the author describes Amy as being loyal and loving. Do not simply give paragraph or line references. So you don't say, the author describes Amy in paragraph 3, etc., etc. The final part of your paragraph should be the connection. You're going to state the connection, explaining how the proof helps develop or explain the point or reason of your paragraph. It can be a concluding sentence or clearly stated as part of the final sentence. Make connections between ideas and information in the reading selection and or your personal experiences, depending on what the question is asking. So this is what the paragraph section will look like in your answer booklet. Notice that it provides 6 lines for your answer. There's also blank space here for rough notes. The rough notes are not scored or marked. It's very important to use this to help organize your answer. Here I've created some rough notes for my answer to this question. So here I've stated the point discerned from the first topic sentence of the original reading. The point is, ice sculpting has elements of both sport and art. Then I am using the quote from the expert, Dan Rebholz, as outlining the reasons why, which are it's physically demanding, there are time constraints, it takes place in competition, it requires art training and imagination. And the final connection is also taken from the topic sentence of the paragraph, where the author calls it a spart. Here's my final answer, and I've highlighted it to show you the first point, proof, and connection sections of this paragraph. So the point, outlined in green, is the main idea of this passage is that ice sculpture has elements of both a sport and an art. The proof section is ice sculpture expert Dan Rebholz points out that like a sport, ice sculpting is physically demanding work, but also features artistic expression all under the time constraints in competitions. And then finally, the connection. Therefore, as the author says, it can be called a spart, half sport, half art. Now, your teacher is going to pause the video and you will have an opportunity to write your own paragraph in response to the reading that you did in previous steps. Good luck.